say you found the skeleton, how would you tell it to die? You personally, how would you decide?
Well, interesting question. I don't know. I'd have to do some research on it.
Hey everybody, welcome to Dapper Reacts number something or other. I am here with Vishanti and Kip, and Kip is very bad at figuring out what numbers mean, because when I say we have about 80 seconds and then about, 70 seconds later, he's like, he's not answering me. Dapper's not saying anything.
It's not like I was counting those seconds in my head. I mean, who does that?
I mean, people with brain county syndrome. I don't know. That's a thing I just made up. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
Hey, I'm on my regular computer. I'm no longer on some random laptop that I just picked up to tide me by. So yeah, which also means I do not currently know exactly how my audio quality is, because I was setting things up. I've been setting things up for days, and yeah, so if I'm too loud, if I'm too quiet, if I'm too noisy, please let me know. The same thing goes for everyone else, because one of the things that I have the hardest time figuring out is why it is that it seems like sometimes OBS's audio qualities just change around. It's very confusing.
Oh, yeah.
We have a couple things to read before we really get into it. Victoria Macarios for €2 says, first super chat with a pride flag and a trans flag, and an AIG is a bag of dicks. So we will take a drink for that. If I have it figured out which, there we go. There is it. Drink counter is working. Then let's see. Lieutenant Math Navigator gifted 5 Dapper Dinosaur memberships, and Kip really needs to tell a story. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 5 drinks slowly, and Kip is going to try to tell his story quickly, and we're going to see who wins, because once I finish my drinks, I'm going to read the next thing. And if Kip isn't done,
come on, that is I you know how I tell stories. So
go fast.
Anyways, I was on a holiday last week. I flew down to parts unknown in the deep south, and when I was flying back, I was whatever. I was in a center seat on the plane, which is the worst seat to be sitting in. And they charge you anytime you want to make any seat change now. So I wasn't fucking doing that. But it reminded me of the time that I was on a flight from Copenhagen to Iceland, and in the pre-boarding, they did the pre-boarding where all the children and the old people go on the plane, and then you got to let me finish this. So I got on the plane and I looked, and this is one of these times when I was in the middle seat, and I looked up, and it was like your worst nightmare. There were 2 gigantic people in either in the window seat and the aisle seat, who clearly thought we're too big for an airplane, which is true. So we should pick these 2 seats that are farthest apart from one another. And I ended up in the seat in between them. And I was that's a 4.5-hour flight. They felt terrible about it. So, and I felt bad that they felt bad, but oh my God. Wow. She fell asleep on me a couple of times. It was a memorial.
All right, there you go, Kip.
Flight.
I took 5 very slow drinks. I want to point out that
thank you for accommodating me.
The story goes like this. I was reminded of the time that I was sat between 2 very large people in a middle seat, and everyone hated it. That's the story that Kip just told.
My version
yeah, there's a lot of
everybody likes my
disclaimers, I think, which is taking valuable time away from your narrative.
Thank you, Vish.
I think that probably
there was this guy called William Shakespeare who once said that brevity is the soul of wit. And I think you should listen to old Billy Shakespeare.
I never claimed to be witty, and you don't necessarily have to be witty to be a good storyteller.
That's true. But also, if we don't tease you, then it's not a real show. So,
Fair. I understand how this works.
Siluf says, Baramine means just mine in Swedish. Interesting. I do not know Swedish. Although I did recently watch a movie in Dutch, and Dutch is a very strange and very silly language.
It really is.
Yeah. But, like, it had Katja Herbert going around on a killing spree. So, like, I was like, okay, I'll watch that. Which, in case you're not familiar with her by name, you might know her as the, like, one of the main characters in Evil. Of the 3 investigators, she's the girl one.
Yeah, no, huge crush on her. Yeah.
Well, if you ever want to see her go on a murdering spree of basically like Facebook trolls, and by basically I mean
Dutch?
literally Facebook trolls. Yes, in Dutch.
Yeah,
she's Dutch, you know. She's not
I
American
need
or
to do
English
that.
or
No,
Canadian.
I knew that.
Okay.
Yeah. No, that sounds awesome. How old is this movie?
That is a good question. I don't remember. But if you're looking for it, it's called The Columnist in English. I have no idea what its title is in Dutch. Lieutenant Math
The
Navigator for
Columnist.
$2 says, Kip needs a new heel for his shoe. That's true. Kip, have you tied any onions to your belt? It was the style at the time.
Listen.
Kip needs to take the ferry from Morganville to Shelbyville.
My stories are good, damn it. They're not pointless ramblings of an old man.
They are very good stories once you don't qualify them or kind of have false starts. Once you get to the meat of it, they're interesting stories.
It's true. Kip is very good at picking out topics for stories. Metageeky Platypus Librarian for $5 says, Dapper, your bed is too soft, your chair is too hard, your porridge is at 1K, and AIG is exactly the intestines of a hard carl in a paper bag. Gross, I'll take a drink. Also, actually, I got a fairly firm mattress last time I bought a mattress, and so far it's working out pretty well. It wasn't that long ago either.
You got a new mattress?
I mean, like a few months ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, someone was like, why don't you flip it? I'm like, I've flipped it like 12 times. It's done.
Yeah. I always struggle for a couple nights whenever I'm sleeping in a new bed. And last week was no exception. But it is brought to mind, like I'm selling my house and I'm, dividing assets with the person that I was married to. But I and she doesn't have any room for the king size bed. And I decided, really I don't either. Who needs that? It's gigantic. And Dagon likes it because he can sleep way the hell over there on the bed. But I don't know. Feels unnecessary.
Even for 2 people, a king is a very large thing, unless you're very large people.
It's like what? Yeah, it's like why? What is the point of this?
The original reason that a twin size bed was called twin size bed was because it was designed for 2 people. It was designed to be the minimum size for 2 people.
I know, right?
And now people are like, I don't know, I'm on my own. I sleep in a queen size bed. And it's like, oh, okay, sure. I guess if you want to take up that much floor space.
Yeah.
The Screen Geek says, who's been a member at the Amulet level for 38 months, says, who jumped in right from finishing Matt with Maddie, coming up on 7 hours of Dapper content today. I am eating well today. Wow, that is a lot. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I was informed the Screen Geek was recently on vacation and didn't have access to my YouTube channel and has now been hungrily devouring what content they missed. So, let's see. Orange Dot, who's been a member for 3 months, is at the Tetrapod level, says, Tales from the Airplane. Yes. Erichamian for $20 says, brain counting syndrome? What do you think is the reason I know there are exactly 151 steps between my floor and the cafeteria floor at work? Or that I skipped the last step because an odd number is obviously unacceptable? I mean, that sounds like you might have brain counting syndrome. So yeah. Let's see. Right-handed says, I'd rather have a captain's bed. Metageeky says, you need a solid slab of neutronium for your mattress. That would just crash through the floor.
Did either of you guys have a captain's bed when you were a kid?
No.
Nope.
I had a bunk bed when I was a kid.
Oh, those are fun too.
Yeah.
I had a captain's bed when I was a kid and I loved it. It was so cool.
The bunk bed was one of those like, what other options were there? Because you tried cramming 3 boys, 1 girl, and 1 couple into a 3-bedroom house without having a bunk bed involved.
You need that.
Oh, also,
That's
and a
totally
grandma.
necessary. Oh God.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we finished the basement for her because it was originally her house, and the deal was that she
Mhm.
gave it to my parents for a very, very, very reasonable price in exchange for basically just living there indefinitely. So, you know, yeah.
Yeah.
And then that meant that there was an extra adult around, so that was nice for the parenting things. But it also meant that sometimes we were subjected to her cooking, and her favorite meal to cook was just taking whatever leftovers were in the refrigerator, putting them in a pot of water, and boiling that, and then slopping that into bowls. So when it was her turn to cook, which was rare, sometimes we just tossed the food into the trash can and pretended that we had eaten it and just went to bed hungry because it was better than eating whatever boiled leftovers happened to exist in a pot somewhere.
Jeez.
Yeah,
Wow.
she was
That
really bad at cooking.
that's a sad childhood story.
I mean,
Uh,
to be fair, the other adults, my mom was pretty good at cooking the whole time. My dad eventually
okay.
learned how to cook, but at first he burned everything. Everything.
Yeah.
But
Hey, somebody's asking what a captain's bed is, and I would like to explain it. So my captain's bed was like there was like a large chest of like drawers and shelves, and then the bed was like on top of that, so it's a little higher. So it was like, probably 2.5, 3 feet off the ground. So it was fun jumping in and out of the bed. And yeah, and it had all those cool drawers and shelves and things underneath it. And the best thing about my captain's bed is it was on casters. So you pull the actual bed frame out from the standalone chest of drawers, and there was like a hidey spot in the dark behind it. It was super cool. So it was like having a fort in your room as well.
So by the way, I do want to take a quick drink for Dapper's Professional because I did have the chat on top instead of live chat, which is what YouTube defaults to. Sorry. Lieutenant Matt the Navigator says, "Do you have a British grandmother?" No. So my grandmother was Quebecoise, but also she grew up like dirt poor on a farm. So like, cooking was a matter of getting calories into your body that wasn't going to kill you. And so that was how she cooked. She was like, "This is something that I can heat up that will kill anything that would normally kill me, and then I will eat it and I will be okay. I won't die." And that was her method of cooking for most things. She did have one dish that she was good at, which was to say she was good at not burning cheesecake as well as making fruit-based toppings for cheesecake, which she did not normally buy. She made them, which was helped by the fact that my family had a cherry tree. So she would go out and pick a bunch of cherries
Oh,
and
that'd be
wash
great.
them and pit
Yeah.
them and put them in like syrup and like reduce that down and put that on top of cheesecakes. So it's very, very fresh
Mm.
cherries. So fresh that now commercially available cherry foods, I just can't eat them because I want fresh cherries that are right. And my definition for fresh is like, has it been more than 6 hours since they were on a tree? Then it's too long. Not acceptable. I want the time between the cherry being on a fully cooked piece of pastry and I'm eating it, and when it was on the tree, to be less than 6 hours. And that is extremely hard to do if you don't have a cherry tree. So yeah, my family's cherry tree ruined cherries for me. What are you gonna do? But hey, we're not here primarily for that. But Vish, I want to make sure that we don't skip you. How you doing? Anything you want to talk about before we start?
Yeah, this week took a major like turn. I'm not doing really well,
I'm sorry.
but I'm here and yeah.
Well, it's much appreciated, and I'm sure that everyone will be rooting for you. So, all right.
Yeah.
I'm trying to double check to see if there's anything that I have missed. Doesn't look like it. We do have a super chat goal. If the super chat goal is reached, then the hosts will be unleashed. We will have an English as she has spoke reading, and there you go. Do notice that we do have the fundraising thing back again and the drink counter. So if I forget either of those, please let me know. Petite Flower says, "Ah, hugs, Vishanti." So there you go. Getting some hugs
Yeah.
in. Now, this is the video that I meant to play last week.
Cherry Pop-Tarts are my favorite.
I don't eat Pop-Tarts anymore.
I haven't had any in ages, but cherry Pop-Tarts are my favorite.
I treat it like a dietary restriction at this point. Like I don't eat Pop-Tarts. It's not that I haven't eaten Pop-Tarts. I don't eat Pop-Tarts, and that's because at a certain point in the
They're bad for
training
you.
pipeline to be a naval nuclear technician, there's a certain situation where basically the only way that I could reliably get a meal in between shifts was the vending machine that had some Pop-Tarts. And so it became the case that I had basically 1 to 2 Pop-Tart meals a day for some weeks because that was what I had time for. And after that training was done, I decided, you know what? I have eaten enough Pop-Tarts for my entire life. I don't ever need to eat Pop-Tarts again. I am not going to eat Pop-Tarts again. And so I didn't make it a big thing. I didn't put out like a Facebook announcement or whatever. But then a couple years later, I'm out on deployment and my parents send me a care package and in it are a bunch of Pop-Tarts. And so I write back to them.
What did you do?
I just gave them out.
Okay.
Hmm.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Were they cherry?
I have no idea.
No.
Kip, you're
They're
asking
the
me about
best.
a deployment Pop-Tart from like 20 years ago. How would I know?
don't. If they were cherry Pop-Tarts, I would have remembered.
That I suppose that's fair. But anyway, yeah, I had to write back to them like, oh, thank you very much for the care package. I don't eat Pop-Tarts, but I did give them away and everyone appreciated it. But in the future, if you could just send things that aren't Pop-Tarts. I'm like, oh, we didn't know. It's like, yes, because I didn't tell you. So yeah, my parents always have this thing like they should know everything that I tell them before I tell them, and I don't know why they think that, because how would they possibly know that?
Hmm.
Yeah. It's like, hey guys, I'm gonna move to Arizona. Oh, we didn't know that. It's like, well, yeah, this is me telling you. This is how you would know, right here. This is that conversation. So yeah, did I drink for Silu's Mothra? I don't think I did actually. No, I didn't. So let's take a drink for that. Now then that'll be another drink because that's Dapper's a professional. All right, so this is the video that I meant to play last week, and I downloaded the wrong sermon. And normally I don't do. Okay, I call this a sermon, right? Because it's the pastor at a church getting up during the sermon time of a service to give a sermon type talk, right? But this isn't actually a sermon, really. This is a bad science lesson. Like, this isn't telling you how to apply some scriptural passage to your life, or like how to, like what kinds of things should you ask for in prayer, or what is the purpose of charitable giving, or why do we visit the sick or the imprisoned, right? Like this, none of that's happening, right? This is like, oh, hey, let's be wrong about science together, guys. Okay, cool. I would be unhappy if I were attending church and this is what I was presented as a sermon, but I don't go to this church. So anyway, here we go. It is started.
Good afternoon. And mentioning individuals this morning, I forgot to mention the most important one, Brian.
Oh, right. Broadcasting from the Matrix. I forgot.
Yeah, we're still in it. Although, so the color grading here is actually a little bit less matrixy, because like he doesn't look particularly green, which makes me think that it's just a very green room that he's standing in, and like something happened with the video compression on the last file that we got. So like I don't know what's going on there.
I don't know. That suit was not anything like this one. So
maybe, yeah. There's a lot of green, guys. I don't change it up a little bit. Like maybe put maroon curtains in or something. I don't know. Oh my goodness, I also missed the Screen Geek super chat. Let's see. Oh, I did. The Screen Geek for €5 says, no vacation. I was in Serbia collecting environmental DNA from flower fields for meta-barcoding of pollinators with an EU CAP project. Some insight. That's really cool, actually. That's exceptionally cool. And then I will take a drink for having missed that, because that's Dapper as a professional. The Screen Geek for €5 says, maybe Dapper ignored my super chat on order to get to another. You won, good sir. Here you go. This one is for Kip. That is not what happened. This was, in fact, a mistake on my part. So my apologies for that, the Screen Geek. But yeah, sorry about it. We'll go ahead.
I feel like I missed a super chat yesterday.
You did? All right, everybody cancel
I don't
Kip.
think so.
You don't think so?
Well, we gotta cancel
we
Kip
got
either
them all.
way.
All right. I hope that's true. And I if Fish says it's true, then it's probably true.
Grievous, who's been a member for 20 months, says, but what about bear, like the animal, Baraminology? Yeah, I don't know about that one. I guess that's what minerals go into making up a bear.
His family. So good to see them here, my old friend Brian.
No one cares, dude.
So, in the summer of 1990, I just finished my freshman year in high school lessons.
Cool.
Very
The summer of
similar
what? summer
1999,
of
I
what?
think.
Okay. I was
Which-
like 1999?
He looks a little old to have graduated in 1999, but what do I know?
The ones I'm going to be presenting. So scientific, because I had just gone through a year of biology being taught evolution as a freshman, and I took that.
So in other words, I just went through a year of biology being taught biology as a freshman. Got it. Cool. That's what that means. Because evolution is just the foundational concept of biology, right? It would be like saying, oh, I went through engineering school and I spent so much time teaching me about math and units. Like, yes, that is in fact a big part of engineering. You need to know math and units and how to convert between different units and which equations are effective for which purposes. Yep, that sure is engineering.
That year or that summer of lectures, that lecture series on evolution and creation, that was kind of like a peg in the road for me.
Wait, what series is he talking about?
Just the series of lectures on evolution, apparently.
Just in school?
Yeah.
Oh.
Lieutenant Matt the
Okay.
Navigator for $2 says, we can ask Maddie about Baraminology.
Ah.
God, I get it. Good stuff. All right.
And from then on through high school and college, anytime I heard something, even if I couldn't answer the questions about evolution and creation that was being taught, evolution that's being taught in college, I knew there were answers out there, and there were people that had scientific answers to this pseudoscience evolution being taught.
Hey, he's right. There are. Take a drink, everybody. Dutch Tunicate Official, who's been a member for 25 months, says, how does one learn biology without evolution? I mean, you can learn disconnected facts about biology, right? Like, you don't have to learn evolution to learn, like, hey, what's the Krebs cycle? Hey, what is the, the nuclear membrane made of? You don't have to learn evolution to learn those things. But in order to figure out how these things relate to each other, you do need revolution. So it's just sort of like you can learn the names of the planets and the moons and what their orbital periods and rotational periods are without learning about like gravity. You can. It's dumb. You're not going to be nearly as effective at like learning things broadly about space if you don't understand what gravity is at the most basic level. But like, it's possible. So you can learn some biology that way. But yeah, you're never going to become like a biologist who has a whole lot to say about biology unless you know the very basic theory on which biology is based. Let's see. Then Grievous for $5 says, Kip, I think y'all missed my could there have been some kind of ellipsis collapse super chat yesterday, but it's all good.
Oh, thanks. Thanks, Grives. And if I did, I'm sorry.
Now I
really appreciate it because I don't know how to pronounce it either, but Vish picked this and it sounded good to me. And I don't know. I just really appreciate it because Grives gave out a bunch of channel memberships yesterday.
Awesome.
So,
well, thank you very much. All right. Well, here we go.
And that helped my faith not be shaken. And I hope that is what happens for many of you young people today. It serves as a peg in the road, and you're not going to know every answer to every question. And
all right, yeah, I need to know. Is this a Southern thing, a peg in the road? Because I've heard of fork in the road. What is a peg in the road?
I don't.
Is he thinking
think
about
I've ever heard of that?
Okay, chat. If you know what a peg in the road it means, please let me know because that is an expression that I am completely unfamiliar with, and the only thing.
Or is he just thinking about pegging?
Maybe. In which case, I mean, that's fine, but you probably shouldn't do that in the road. That's something best done at home.
Or in church. Or maybe not in church either.
I mean, it depends on the church, I suppose.
I guess. Yeah.
But like, generally speaking, it's not something you do in public. So like, don't do it in the road, is basically what I'm saying.
your faith is going to be challenged, but you can say, you know what? There are people smarter than me. And I can say there are people way smarter than me that have many more answers than I have that I'm going to give this week. We should have confidence.
I'm pretty sure that 3 of those people are in this panel right now. The 3 of those people who are smarter than you are right here, buddy. That's okay, because we're We're gonna fix the mistakes you make, because I'm sure they're just mistakes.
We have the truth in God's word, but we also have believers and Christians who can respond to the pseudoscience regarding evolution that's taught. So the lesson today regarding animal kinds, micro versus macro evolution, and the background to neo-Darwinism. Today I'm going to convey a principle that I believe will help you answer 90% of all evolution arguments out there if we get
90%.
this principle down.
This is a big deal,
Now,
guys.
first of all, I'm going to try to justify in the next 3 lessons, shortly, briefly justify why this series is important and why I think the elders...
Depending on how this goes, we might just watch those other 3 lessons.
Yeah, seriously.
Because this only was released like a week and
3
a half
weeks,
ago.
2 weeks. Holy shit!
Yeah, no, not even 3 weeks ago. Like,
Not
this
even
is an
that long.
ongoing series.
Wow.
And Leonard actually had me come speak. He rented out Athens Bible School auditorium years ago to do the same thing. Why is this important? Well, let's let the atheists answer. In the Atheistic Journal, they said evolution becomes the most potent...
Wait, the Atheist Journal? Is that a real thing?
Is that Darwin's notebook where he took all his notes? Is that the Atheist Journal?
Atheist? Well, I mean, it wasn't an atheist when he was taking most of those notes.
Yeah, but they don't know that.
Let's see. Atheist Journal, linked notebook, creative. Okay, but this is an actual notebook that Amazon is selling, so that's clearly not it. I don't think he means the atheism themed notebook you can buy from Amazon. American Atheist Magazine. I wouldn't call that a journal, but it exists. Etsy is selling another atheist journal. Okay, cool. Designed for atheists, agnostics, and other non-believers. Right. So that's just a journal that someone's selling, a blank journal. Let's see. Yeah, no, I don't think the Atheist Journal is a real thing, everybody. I'm pretty sure that is what we call made up. So I'm just gonna take a drink for the Atheist Journal, which also means, hey, if you're an atheist out there, maybe there is a room in the market for a peer-reviewed journal about atheism. Hey, atheism is a popular topic in the philosophy of religion. You could be a philosophy journal.
Could you pass peer review without passing peer review in the...
No, this is not a Richard Carrier friendly journal. Sorry.
He's an atheist though.
He is, and he could write. Well, you don't have to be an atheist to write for the Atheist Journal. You just have to be writing about atheism, because that's the topic of the journal.
All right.
So,
got it.
Yeah. Naramda puts for $5 says, Google says, what are survey pegs and how are they used? Foot position and peg technique for off-road riding. Tips for perfect highway peg install. Oh, okay. Let's see. Lieutenant Math Navigator for 5 says, I can confirm that pegging in the road is not a thing in North Carolina. Almost said California, and I was like, wait, that can't be right. There's no such thing as North California. It's Northern California. Okay.
Weapon for destroying the Christian faith. It's one of the
Nobody's
strongest
trying to
tools
destroy your faith by using science. My goodness.
Also, I do like that we just see what the Atheist Journal is. It's just Free Inquiry, which is not a journal. It's just a magazine for atheists about atheism, and probably based on this article, anti-theism, which is not the same thing as atheism. But like, okay,
is that Michael Shermer's journal?
No, he was Skeptic Magazine.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Although he's no longer because of, all the allegations and
Sure.
Destroy belief in the Bible. But when we respond to people, let's also start out by saying we need to have the correct answers, but more importantly, we need to have the right attitude. Let's look at some passages that talk about our attitude. First Peter, with Baraminology bridge story, we should perhaps be encouraged.
Are these? Has he gotten to the answer to 90% of the questions?
No. Instead, he's telling us to be polite while you spout pseudoscience. Which, okay, that's better than being a dick while you do it, I suppose.
Yeah.
Like, all things being equal, I prefer people be broadly polite, but also like, who the
cares? You know who is often really nice and polite?
Oh, the worst people you know.
Yeah, usually. Yeah.
But I mean, I don't think that they would be improved by being less nice and less polite.
No, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
It's kind of a meme at this point.
Oh, look, there's a reason that there is currently a nearly 4-hour video on my channel about why it is I don't interact with Standing for Truth generally, and the fact that he is also a coward when it comes to actually having the opportunity where I will interact with him. So, yeah. Uh-huh. It also has my favorite edit of any death threat ever, which is one that was issued against me, to which I set to the tune of In the Navy. Yeah.
I haven't heard that, but that sounds amazing.
I will send you a copy of the video that is just that, so you don't have to slog through like hours of video.
Thank you. Appreciate
Because
it.
it's also on Top Hats Off, and the reason
okay.
it's there is because the person who is saying that perhaps we should look into having my head cut off as if I were a dog whose head would be cut off. Also,
Why
was he saying that?
Why a dog?
Oh, he's
having his
making
head
reference
cut off?
to someone referring to some person who came to see King David as a dog and asking King David if that person's head should be removed.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
He's making a Bible allusion to a time a guy
Yeah,
threatened to kill
well,
someone else.
Yeah, okay.
It's always best to couch your death threats in terms of biblical allusions.
I mean, you can do that a lot.
Oh yeah.
It's
yeah.
usually successful.
But in the process of this, he managed to come up with a gayer version of In the Navy, which is impressive because, it's already in the Navy.
It's like one of the gayest songs ever. So.
Right. And so I found a version of the song that was intended for use at karaoke. So it had the backing vocals and the music, but it didn't have the main vocals. And so I just lined it up so that when he started singing his gayer version, it lined up with the song.
Oh man,
Yeah.
that sounds so good.
I worked really hard on it, honestly. Let's see. Lieutenant Math Navigator for $5 says, I can't confirm that pegging in the road is not a thing in North... Oh, no, I already read that. I'm sorry. Doc Dino for $2 says, hope y'all are having a dynamite day. And so far, so good. In fact, also, not too long after the show, I'm going to be on Doc Dino's channel, and we are going to be talking about a AIG response to a dinosaur documentary, which...
Is that today?
That is going to be today at, I believe, 6 Eastern.
Is the documentary the dinosaurs on Netflix?
I believe that is the case, yes.
Oh, I love that show.
For $5, the Tunicate Official says, my cats are mean. Thanks, YouTube censorship. Sometimes that's how I know they love me. Godzilla. I'll take your drink for that, Godzilla. Grievous for $5 says, just a reminder that we can't we all be civil and polite is just accept fascism in a trench coat. Yeah. I am not saying that people need to be polite. I am just saying if you're going to do fascist propaganda like this guy, I guess it's less unpleasant for me if I have to listen to it from someone who is saying it in a calm voice rather than yelling at me. So, since I'm going to be engaged in countering fascist propaganda either way, it's better if it doesn't blow out my eardrums. So, yeah, because let's be clear. What this guy is doing is fascist propaganda, right? He is selling you a bunch of lies in order to keep you in the kind of Christianity that tends to be Christian nationalist, which is just a theocratic option within the umbrella of various types of far-right ideologies that, whether or not some scholar wants to call fascism, do all the things that I'm concerned about with fascism. Because I'm not super concerned about, like, oh, they made a big arch. Like, I don't super care about that. I care about things like, the genocide, the targeting of people of different demographic groups, the dehumanization, the loss of civil rights and freedoms. Those are the things I care about. And so it's like, oh, but they didn't use a fasces as a symbol, and they aren't hearkening back to ancient Roman aesthetics. Yeah, okay, I don't care. Not interested in that.
That it's in all eternity. Well, again, this series is because our youth are facing challenges such as this more than ever before. So
our youth are facing the challenge of having to learn science. Oh, no. My goodness.
Oh dear.
Hey, Will Duffy, if you ever watched this video, and I do know that you've watched a few of my videos, although I think mostly they were the ones concerning you directly. This is another example of young Earth creationists acting like flat earthers, complaining that their children will have to go to school and be indoctrinated in basic science, because that's what's happening right now that he's complaining about. So just want to drive home the reason that people compare young Earth creationism to flat Earth is because they act the same.
I would say this series is designed to do two things. Number one, help ground you in the faith of God's word, along with, number two, being able to answer some of these pseudoscientific evolutionary arguments. Thus, as a means of encouragement, do not be
Still not giving us the thing.
Falling in.
Did he say pseudoscientific anti-evolutionary arguments?
No, he said evolutionary arguments. Okay.
Oh.
So we skipped ahead. Last little bit of.
All right.
No, I'm not positive.
Could have sworn.
My memory
Anyways,
isn't perfect.
Never mind.
Dr. Diner for $2 says, tonight is Ryan's
Ryan Chickens?
Oh, Ryan Cox presentation. Can do AIG later. Oh, I forgot which one we were doing. Sorry about that. I don't always remember all of the things. Thank you very much, Dr. Diner, for correcting me on that. So yeah, it's Ryan Cox's presentation. Oh, right. I forgot about that. I did see that on AIG's website, and I was wondering whether or not I should cover it. And then Doc Diner was like, "Hey, you want to cover this thing?" I was like, "Yeah, sure, let's do that."
Is Ryan Cox like a joke version, like a parody of Brian Cox?
No, I think it's just his name.
Okay. It's convenient.
It turns out that there has been more than one person with that last name.
It's popular last name.
Yeah. Lieutenant Matt the Navigator for $5 says, "Kids being exposed to reality. The horror. The horror!" Yeah. Won't somebody please think of the children?
Let's stand on God's word, even if we're the only ones. So what are we going to learn in this lesson about animal kinds? Well, the first thing is that animal kinds are fixed. The fixity. Animal kinds cannot evolve.
I can't even define what a kind is.
Yep. He won't ever do that, because that's always going to be the questions. Like, you say this thing can't do this thing. Okay, well, what is the first thing? What is that can't do this other thing that you're talking about?
I can define what a kind is.
Oh, I can too. Would you like to go ahead and see what we'll go with yours, then we'll go with mine, and we'll see.
A kind is that which reproduces after itself.
Now, are you saying that is what the Bible is using for the Hebrew word mean, or are you saying that's what he means when he says kind?
That's what the Bible says.
Okay. Yeah, that seems perfectly reasonable for what the Bible means. What he means is that a kind is a sort of Platonic ideal of a group of organisms, and that when he says that things can't change from one kind to another, he has this Platonic ideal of things going from one ideal to another, like a sphere becoming a cube, shifting from one Platonic ideal to another. Okay. And if you think about creationists and kinds in terms of Platonic ideals, everything they say about kinds will always make sense in that context. And it will also show why they're always wrong about that, because biology doesn't have time for Platonism.
Yeah, I just don't know how useful that is, since, the Bible says pretty explicitly what it is. Also, I'm now thinking, I hadn't really thought much about this before, but I'm now thinking how much Platonic ideals might have played into the ways in which the authors conceptualize creation.
If you write a paper about this, I want credit.
Okay.
Not like writing credit, just like special thanks.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, okay. I want to see Dapper Dinosaur in a peer-reviewed paper.
Do you think that would be a good paper?
Honestly, yeah. If you could find some really good parallels between like Neoplatonism and the priestly source, yeah. Do it. All right.
Okay.
Other kinds. That is to say, they can only change within their kind. Many of you have heard of this concept. Microevolution, changing within the kind, not macroevolution, microbe to man evolution.
And see, we've gone with a fake definition. Sorry, go ahead, Kim.
No, I was going to say, I don't know that the priestly author had in mind anything that looks even remotely like so-called microevolution.
Probably not. No, probably not. And one of the problems is, like, this is not what microevolution means. Microevolution was a term that was defined, and macroevolution were defined, both those terms were defined by a botanist. And their use in evolutionary biology has remained largely fixed since then. Which means both in terms of, like, prescriptive as well as descriptive uses of these terms in the context of evolutionary biology. Microevolution is evolution below the level of species, so that does not result in speciation. Macroevolution is evolution at or above the level of speciation, so it describes speciation as well as long-term trends in things like families, orders, classes, and things like that, right? So if speciation has occurred, macroevolution has occurred. That's it. There's no idea about kinds because fundamentally there is no way to define kinds in a scientifically useful sense. Oh, and drink for Mothra. Thank you very much, Mothra.
Sorry, I just want to point out, Orange Dot 432 said even that baby knows this guy is full of shit.
Right? Olivia Williams, Purple Fairy for 5 Beaver Bucks says, talking of that name makes me remember I can't say the name of my favorite singer because her name is Zora Cock. Yeah. With a Mothra. I'm going to take a drink for that. And I'll actually increment the drink counter because I have that back again. Hooray! Victoria Macarios for €2 says, a paper like that would be awesome. Also, Answers in Genesis is a bag of dicks. We'll take a drink for that too. Agreed. Actually, I would be very interested in a paper about the parallels between the P-source and like Platonism or Neoplatonism.
Yeah, it's actually a pretty good idea.
Yeah.
No, as I'm thinking through it. So.
Well, like I said, all I request is a special thank you if you write that paper, which you absolutely should.
Okay. There's, yeah, more to do. That's fine.
Yeah. Look, you're clearly not busy enough.
Obviously not.
That does not occur. Well, what is neo-Darwinian evolution?
Wow, that baby really hates this.
Yeah. So neo-Darwinian evolution, actually, no matter what he's going to say, involves heritability, variation, natural selection, sexual selection, mutation, and genetics overall. Not all of those things were part of Darwinism, and also there is much more that is involved in the modern synthesis, which came later, and the current integrated synthesis, which came even later than that.
Evolution, also known as macroevolution or neo-Darwinism, it's also known as the general theory of evolution.
Not all of these things are the same thing, so no, those are not all synonymous, but sure, whatever, go off.
It's the philosophy. Note, it's not a science. It's never been demonstrated by the scientific method.
Actually, we have experiments demonstrating macroevolution in laboratories. So, you know. Also, we know that our techniques for recovering ancestry trees do work, at least in principle, because of a cool experiment. And I don't remember the name of it, so I would have to double check. So if you want the name of it, like, let me know in like the comments or something, and I'll get a hold of it. But there was an experiment in which one group of scientists basically cultured a bunch of, starting out with clones, right, of I think it was E. coli. And so they then, would separate them out into separate petri dishes, keeping track of the actual ancestry, right? Because every time they take a sample of this previous petri dish and put it into a new one, right, that's going to carry with it some new mutations that were not predominant in the older versions. And so they're building up an actual real-world ancestry tree that they're keeping track of, right? And then when everything was done, they took the final bacterial colonies and they sequenced their genomes, and then they used phylogenetic analysis techniques to see if they could recover the correct tree shape based on what they knew the tree shape was going to be. And it turns out, yes, they did, repeatedly. Which means that our techniques for determining the shape of trees on the basis of the assumption of common ancestry actually works. And when you do this with groups that we know don't have common ancestry, like viruses, we do not recover high confidence trees. Instead, we recover a bunch of trees with low confidence and what are called polytomies, where instead of getting a nice split into 2 descendant lineage branches, you get a split that goes into 3 or more lineages, all with low confidence. So we actually know statistically what it would look like if separate ancestry were true, and what it would look like if common ancestry were true. And we have experimental verification that, in fact, our techniques for uncovering the actual shape of the ancestral tree in phylogenetic terms works. So that is, in fact, scientific evidence. That is scientific verification. That makes this science.
It's a philosophy that all life evolved from a bacterium.
Not really, but okay.
Into man by 2 things. Here's the mechanism. Number 1, by mutations. Random mutations. This is error in the DNA. We've all heard of that, the genetic code. And what happens is these mutant species can out...
Oh, these
His
mutant
kid-
species.
His kid learned how to use the flashing arrow feature on
Yeah, good job.
PowerPoint.
Also, saying mutant species doesn't mean anything. Mutations occur in individual genomes, and then that particular mutation is an allele. And then whether or not that allele, or sometimes new genes entirely, give an advantage or not, determines the frequency of those genetic variations in future populations. And eventually this can give rise to new species. But to say a mutant species implies that some species aren't mutant, which is not true. I'm not sure what it would even mean for that to be the case. All right, so here we go.
compete the others. That's survival of the fittest, also known as natural selection. And thus the mutant species continue evolving higher and higher. At least that's what we are told.
That
His
is a
brain
great
is a mutant species.
Also, there's no such thing as higher and higher. Evolution doesn't care about your great chain of being. It doesn't care that you prefer humanity over other species. There is no such thing as higher and higher. It is just organisms trying to survive in the environments in which they find themselves, having genetic drift going along, which, by the way, remember, he said there are 2 mechanisms, and you can't reduce evolution to 2 mechanisms. But we'll see, because I'm pretty sure that one of his is going to be natural selection, the other is going to be mutation, and he's just going to ignore everything else.
Now, this is nothing new, the idea of macroevolution in general. It's been a strongly held philosophical conviction for thousands of years. It's known as an a priori philosophy. A priori means from the former. Really, it means before the experiments. They came to this conclusion before they ever performed any experiments.
But that's not true for Darwin, because Darwin started out his career as a naturalist as someone who believed in separate creation on the basis of accepting Paley's watchmaker argument, and who later came to the conclusion that either all organisms were descended from a single ancestor or from a small number of initial ancestors, which means he actually never got to the point of saying definitively, I believe in the common ancestry of all life forms. He was always open to limited amounts of separate ancestry, which could have been compatible with separate creation of those ancestors. So this is just not historically true, that that's how evolution came about, that it was from the a priori assumption of common ancestry. Further, the fact is that most of the things that are cited as evolutionary ideas are things from like ancient Greek philosophy, and they also involve separate ancestry. It's just that it was a constant separate ancestry, because they believed that there was this constant churning of vital energy that was producing relatively simple organisms like marine worms or maggots or things like that. And that these organisms would then slowly work their way up this great chain of being towards becoming more and more sophisticated organisms, until eventually the oldest set of this group of organisms to do so became humans, the pinnacle of mortal existence. But that's not evolution, because if you want to conflate common ancestry with these ideas, most of these ideas do not involve common ancestry. Lamarck didn't have an idea of common ancestry. The ancient Greeks didn't. So I'm just going to take a drink for him getting basically the entire history of the idea of evolution wrong. Let's see. Naranda puts, who's been a member for 33 months and is at the tetrapod level, says, "Baby, I smell bullshit. Change this man's diaper." Yeah, he probably did fill his diaper up with some bullshit there. Which is annoying because you have to go find it. He doesn't. I don't think he produces his own. You know, gotta go find some bullshit out in the field and put it in.
Science is only supposed to arrive at conclusions a posteriori. That means after the experiments have concluded. So in a sense, neo-Darwinism is cheating. It's calling something science that is not.
It's cheating.
I'll take a drink for that.
Evolution
You
is
guys
the
are
cheat code?
cheaters. Oh, oh my goodness. You guys are the Billy Mitchell of science, actually? Okay.
Science. So it was accepted, macroevolution, and taught before it was scientifically tested. How do we know? Well, notice a man that lived in Darwin's lifetime. At Harvard, H.F. Osborne said, from the earliest stages of Greek thought, man has been eager to discover some natural cause of evolution. Why? To abandon the idea of the supernatural intervention.
Okay, I just have to point out, I don't really care what H.F. Osborne said. However, I do not think that the idea of the vital force of the universe spontaneously generating worms and maggots, which then struggle to raise themselves up in the great chain of being, counts as natural and not supernatural. Just gonna put that out there. I would put that squarely in the supernatural bucket if it were me. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I don't know. Like all the Greeks were doing was trying to get clear observations of the natural world. I mean, that's it. They're
Okay.
trying.
What about you, Vishanti?
I think this is just BS. He's just on some other wackadoo plane of reality.
Oh yeah. Lieutenant Matt the Navigator for $5 says, meanwhile, young Earth creationist only finds evidence in the posterior. That's true.
That's it.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
In the order of nature. For thousands of years, man has been trying to do away with God and find a way to get life here without God.
That's not true.
Yeah, that's very not true. Also,
No.
the Greeks were generally
Also-
not people who were trying to get rid of the divine.
No.
Yeah, people with his particular set of beliefs, which are very bespoke, they're not the center of the universe. They are not the null hypothesis. They're not the main characters of reality.
Mhm.
So like every one of these little critiques, it's like they're trying to get rid of it. It's like, buddy, you are not the main character.
Yeah. In fact, even when you find people in ancient Greek literature who are being accused of atheism, it does not mean the philosophical rejection of the existence of deities. It means that they are people who were neglecting their civic role in the religion of the city they live in, which means they're not going to the temples to do the sacrifices on public holidays, the things which, according to ancient Greek religion, kept the city in the favor of the gods. But these people were still people who believed in various forms of divinity, because generally they were doing things like saying, I don't think that the gods of the Greek pantheon are the real gods because they're too imperfect, and I think that divinity is something higher. And in fact, there's a reason why a lot of Christian theology cribs from these ancient Greek sources, and it's because they had a higher view of divinity and were believing in things like, oh, you know, single monistic deities that would be the sole divine spark for creation and things like that. Yeah. Not atheists in the sense of, you know, the people going to that magazine he was referencing earlier. They would not have found friends at that magazine, at that editorial board. Let's see. Lieutenant Matt the Navigator for $5 says, of course a young Earth creationist would cite a man that was less famously a flagrant racist by the standards of the 19th century. Yeah. Victoria Macarios for €2 says, young Earth creationists read letters from Darmstadt, literally : city. I get what you just did there. Thank you very much. All right, let's update the tracker here. Let's see. Okay, it's nice to have the tracker back.
How do we know that? Because over 3,000 years ago in Psalm 14:1 and 53:1.
You are a pastor? It is Psalm, not Psalms 14.
Right. Yeah.
That is Psalm
Also
14:1 and Psalm 53:1.
Probably not 3,000 years ago.
Yeah.
Almost certainly not 3,000 years ago.
Well, he's assuming that all the attributions of a Psalm of David are just historically correct.
Of course he is.
I mean, why would
And
it
even
say,
those that aren't must have been written by David.
Like-
So
Yeah.
I mean, why would it say Psalm of David if it wasn't written by David Kip?
correct.
Do you hate the
Yeah.
Bible?
Yeah, gosh.
I actually don't. I have a shirt and see it's over there. I have a shirt and everything. It says it. It says the thing.
Okay. Lieutenant Matt the Navigator for $5 says Henry Fairfield Osborne was a co-founder of the American Eugenics Society. He's also the guy that named T-Rex and Velociraptor. Oh yeah, I forgot he was the founder of the American Eugenics Society. Yeah. You know what? I'll use the one. Fuck that guy.
Ouch. Wow.
Yeah. Of course, Margaret Sanger was also a famous eugenicist. So it turns out, yeah, all your heroes from history are probably terrible people if you look too far into them.
So many
Yeah.
terrible people.
Yeah. I remember I one of my history classes, someone was like, "Hey, who remembers who Margaret Sanger is?" We were talking about, like, you know, the history of Roe v. Wade and all this stuff, because it was like a legal history kind of thing, getting a history degree. I was like, "Oh yeah, I remember she was the person who founded Planned Parenthood and was also a famous eugenicist who explicitly founded Planned Parenthood in part to reduce Negro reproduction, according to her."
Ugh.
Yeah. Never think that any of your heroes from histories are just good guys. They're not, I promise you. All of them have done something horrible that you are going to be disappointed to know about. So, yep. Which, by the way, not a good reason to do anything to the modern Planned Parenthood. Because it turns out that having a person who had very, very, very questionable ideas found your organization doesn't mean anything about what your organization is doing right now, at least not necessarily.
On the psalmist said, the fool has said in his heart, there is no God.
Cool.
Even all the way back then, if there's no God, life has to get here somewhere.
You know, in the Bhagavad Gita,
Not
Krishna
really.
talks about how much of a god he is. We're gonna bring that one up. We're just gonna only cite your holy text.
I
Because,
think
like,
you know the answer to that.
right, I forgot. Cool. Well, Dapper Dinosaur once wrote in the Dapper Book of Psalms, quote, "This guy is an idiot," end quote. So
Yeah, checkmate atheist.
I now have just as much authority over what is true as this guy does.
Kind of curious though, isn't it? If David wrote, I mean, it's kind of curious that both Psalm 14 and Psalm 53 are basically the same psalm.
He had a theme going.
So just write the same psalm over
Also,
again a second time.
another fun thing is that Raw Matt said that he actually doesn't see a problem with quote mining, actually. And so what that means is you can just point out to him that the Bible says repeatedly there is no God, and I'm just going to believe it. Because there's no
There you
problem
go.
with quote mining,
Very-
actually,
that's
according
very
to
good.
Not Raw
Yeah.
Matt, sorry, Matt, that was Matt Powell. Raw Matt didn't say that. My apologies, Raw Matt. That particular thing is not something I would deploy against Raw Matt. It was Matt Powell who said that.
Oh, all right.
Okay.
Nice.
How did it get here? Even the ancient Greeks, all the way back to Thales in 588 BC, proposed evolution. In Charles Darwin time, people
I
before
don't
him.
know about that.
Yeah, also, all of these things are not common ancestry, the thing he's most on about, right? Like,
Mhm.
so it's... If you're going to start talking about how much you hate common ancestry, you're going to actually have to start after Darwin. Because Darwin did not actually demand universal common ancestry. And if that's your real problem, then sorry. If you actually read The Origin of Species, there's really not that much that isn't already just part of young Earth creationism. There just isn't. Because young Earth creationists have basically conceded on mutation, on selection, even on sexual selection in some cases, not all of them. But like, if you concede that there is variation that is heritable and that natural selection works, that's all of The Origin of Species. You've just accepted everything in there, including the fact that there might have been a smaller number of initial organisms that were the ancestor of modern organisms than the number of species around today, which is the weakest version that you can pull out of that text as something that Darwin says is fine. So while you haven't accepted like the strongest version of what you could take out of that text and what was left open to you from that text, there's nothing in that text that's actually rejected by modern young Earth creationists. Sorry, with the one exception of ICR, who are rejecting natural selection, which is a wild thing to do, given that it's just a mathematical inevitability, right? It's like rejecting an infinite series. It's like, no, you can't sum the positive integers. It's like, well, I mean, it's just an infinite series. I can. Or like, oh, you believe that 1 plus 1/2 plus 1/4 plus 1/8 and so on. You believe that that infinite series sums to 2. You're an idiot. Math doesn't even work. Oh, okay, sure, I guess. I guess you can say that. I think it sums to 2, though. And so does every mathematician who has ever looked into it. Lieutenant Math Navigator for $5 says, this man's ideas can be traced to somewhere in the small intestine. Correct. All right, here we go.
Him as well as contemporary with him, such as Lamarck, Alfred Russel Wallace, Saint Hilaire in France, Robert Grant, and even Darwin's grandfather, Erasmus Darwin. They all proposed different mechanisms of evolution, trying to get rid of God. Well, then what was the significance of Charles Darwin, you might ask? Why is Charles Darwin...
wasn't he a Christian?
Charles, like Darwin?
Weren't most of these people Christians?
He was.
Most of them were. Darwin was a Christian at the time of the Voyage of the Beagle.
He went to school to study theology.
Yeah, he was going to be a person. But he didn't want to, and also he got in a lot of trouble at school because instead of like studying, he would go around and like collect butterflies and stuff like that. Like he just didn't care about his theology studies at all.
Nice.
But
relatable.
He followed his mom's theology.
Want to go collect butterflies?
I mean, fair, right? But he, for most of his life, he was a Unitarian Christian, so he would be considered a heretic by this guy, most likely.
Oh yeah.
But like, he clearly wasn't an atheist for most of his life. He believed that there was a God. He believed in that Jesus was in some way divine. He believed in the death and resurrection of Jesus and all that stuff because he was a Unitarian and not an atheist for most of his life. Then, after one of his daughters died, he then basically could not find a way to reconcile the problem of evil with his theology, and so he became an agnostic. And as far as I can tell, he remained an agnostic for the rest of his life, including up until his death. And the story of that one person who usually goes by Lady Hope, that he recanted his atheism to her on his deathbed and accepted the Lord Jesus Christ, is just a thing she made up one day.
Things that didn't happen.
Yeah, in fact, Darwin's family said that she was nowhere around anywhere on the property when he was dying, and that unless she had snuck on and snuck into his room, that's impossible. And since there was always a family member with him as he was dying, that didn't happen. So, yeah. Now, to be fair, most creationists have given up on the Lady Hope story. So I don't want to pretend that this is still a common thing you hear from creationists. It's been a very long time, probably more than 15 years since I've heard a creationist use the Lady Hope story as if it were an actual true thing about Darwin. So, but it was really common in like the 90s.
Important. Well, this is why. This is what happened. Charles Darwin made popular evolution by using a logical...
Oh, we're over time.
I was just about to say.
All right, well, we're going to take a quick break so people can refill their drinks and whatnot. And in the meantime, we will go on a break because I have break stuff set up. So, yeah, we'll be right back. Okay, we are back. Hello. I think I might have hot mic just for a little bit there, but that's okay. I'm okay with that. All right, so we got a couple things. Inquisitive Infidel says Darwin has a flurf story. He searched for how the diversity of life came about and failed to clearly find the hand of a divine being. I mean, to be fair, he did also fail to find that. But let's see. Then Arachamian gave 5 Dapper Dinosaur memberships. So while I take 5 drinks, I think that what Chesh should do is do a compare and contrast between which one is more like a vampire, the Night Lords or the Blood Angels from Warhammer, and we'll see how much of the various lore she remembers.
All right, so here's the problem. The answer is neither of them, because both of them are missing out on some of like the very key factors of vampire lore. You know, the sparkling in the sunlight part.
Oh, I mean, I don't have time to that. Why do I even allow you on here? Beer Q, I'm not sure. But it's Bear Q. I'm sorry, I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce your name. Please let me know. But for $9.99 says I dealt
Bark.
with could be Bark. I dealt with so many of these fools at seminary, Universalist Unitarian chaplain. Oh yeah, okay. A lot of evangelicals don't have to be educated, just called by their God. Thanks, Asherah. I'm a devil worshiping. Thank Asherah. I'm a devil worshiping atheist. Or Asherah. I meant Asherah. I know how to read words. To be fair, the lack of an H at the end threw me a little bit, because it's the in Asherah is like the it's actually not just like it's like this proto-Semitic feminine ending that ends up as AH in so many Semitic languages, and sometimes AT in a few other languages. Egyptian, it's something T. We don't know what the vowel was, but that's an Afroasiatic language. Anyway, yeah, that's a feminine singular.
Well, if you check out my book that I definitely didn't write, you would find some information in there about that type of a language differentiation in the Bible.
That sounds fascinating and like something that you definitely wrote.
Yeah, I definitely did.
Yep, I believe it. Chesh says it. I believe it. That settles it.
It's now truth.
That is how it works. All right, now that we're back, I do real quick want to go through the whole little commercial thing, which is to say, first of all, thank you so much for everyone who has been supporting me with gifting memberships, doing super chats, all that stuff. It really does mean a lot, because it is through you guys and your generosity that this channel gets to keep on going. If you would like to support the channel and financially, and you're not sure how to do that in the most effective way, the best way, probably in terms of just direct support from me, would be the Patreon. The Patreon is where I get to keep most of the money that the most of the money that you send me. There's also the channel memberships that I keep a little bit less there, but they're still both really great ways because they're reliable and I can like budget with them. The Patreon starts at $1 a month. There's a 15% discount for going annually. The membership starts at $1.99 a month. There is no annual thing, but both of them give you early access to my scripted videos. Both of them give you access to my Discord, unless you suddenly make that a very unpleasant or dangerous place, in which case we kind of kick you. So there's that. Don't do that, is what I'm saying. So also, let's see. They The memberships give you access to membership chats here on YouTube, which are basically super chats, but at no additional charge. You also get the cool badge next to your name. Your name will be green unless you're a moderator, in which case it will be still the blue with the shield, but you'll also have the badge. Gives you access to channel emoji, stuff like that. If an annual or monthly pledge isn't your deal, then there are a number of other options. I have a merch store, which is linked below this. There's a merch shelf. If you don't like any of those items, you can still click through. There are more items. Let's see. There is also, I have 2 wish lists linked in the description. I have a throne wish list, which has like books, snacks, some costuming stuff. And then there is a Steam wish list, which is linked, where you could get me a video game or a DLC for a video game or something like that, right? So it's on there. Basically, I am currently not willing to buy it for myself, or it hasn't come out yet, but I would like it. And that is what's on there. I think that is it in terms of the fundraising stuff, which means we have a couple things here. Victoria Macarios for €2 says, surprise Canadian swap. I have no idea what that is supposed to mean there, but sure.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that sounds made up. Lieutenant Matt the Navigator for $2 says, the divine truth of the goblin Baramin. Yeah, goblins are a Baramin, obviously. And then Lieutenant Matt the Navigator sends 5 Dapper Dinosaur gift memberships. So I'm going to take 5 more drinks while Chesh tells you why, in fact, the Blood Angels are vampires.
Sucking blood, working at nighttime, the blood sustains them. That's all you really need to be a vampire.
I would also add that they seem to be effectively immortal in terms of dying of old age. I don't think any of them have ever done that.
Yeah, but you could say that about most kobolds. Most kobolds only live to be like 15 years old. They don't die of old age.
To counter, one of the oldest of the Blood Angels is many thousands of years old, and he is still kicking, and he hates it.
Okay, valid. But that might just be as far as we know, might just be their natural lifespan.
Well, I mean, he doesn't, like, he is older than, he looks old, right? Like, he has gray hair and such, but, like, he's nowhere close to being dead. Like, he's still...
Yeah, but if we don't know what their natural lifespan is, then you can't possibly know if the blood is keeping them young and making them immortal, basically. A lot of vampires do age if they don't, like, drink blood and then de-age, like, mummify and then de-age.
In that case, all we can say about vampires is that they might be immortal, and we haven't seen one die of old age yet, but maybe if we wait long enough...
No, because vampires were human once, except for maybe 1 or 2 of them.
So were Blood Angels.
Yeah, if they were human and we know the length of
they all start out as humans.
Human life. Yeah. If they start off with humans, then they got that immortality.
And part of becoming a Blood Angel is literally drinking blood. They have to drink blood in order to become.
Yeah, do they have to do the blood bath too? Like they go soak for a little while?
What they do is after they have a number of the organs transplanted into them that help make them Blood Angels, they sit in a coffin for about a year, and the only sustenance they get is basically blood from other Blood Angels.
They're okay, so they're like a knockoff vampire. They're like a knockoff vampire.
The whole setting is space fantasy, and it's like sci fantasy, right? So this is the sci fantasy.
These aren't magic vampires. These are sci-fi vampires. So they had to get like organ transplants, and the coffin is like powered by definitely not magic sci-fi goop. Temu vampires.
All right, I'm gonna hit play.
Are they of lower quality? I don't know. Manya's been very like buying everything from Temu recently, and she is adoring it. So maybe it just depends on what you're buying from Temu.
Yeah, I think it depends. Like if you're looking for like a little sticker of like a cartoon character, it's probably gonna be fine. But if you're like, I need like a new car, don't get it there. It's not gonna work out.
Yeah. If you're buying knickknacks, if you treat it like the dollar store, basically.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, wait, Lieutenant Math Navigator for $2 says Blood Angels are vampires from Wish. Also, yeah. All right. Actually, despite the fact that the Night Lords are often considered to be the vampire faction, they actually don't have to drink blood. and they don't have a particular desire for blood, and like they don't have fangs unless they sharpen their own teeth into fangs, whereas the blood angels grow fangs when they become blood angels. And it's like, come on, man, they're not the vampires. They're just the
One
edgy
is
slasher
definitely
villains.
one are definitely more vampire-esque than the other.
Yeah, the Night Lords are edgy slasher villains who like the vampire aesthetic. They're not vampires. Let's see. Inquisitive Infidel for $2 says, blood old age is for the venerable. Heart blood drop emoji with the biting the lower lip emoji. All right. So I am going to update.
There's a lot we could talk about vampires. We'd be here forever. If you want us to do an episode just talking about vampire lore and vampire media, let us know, because I have a whole other thing that we can talk about with relation to zombies, which is like adjacent.
All right. Well, I'm going to hit play.
Fallacy. That is an error in the chain of reasoning, in argumentation or debate. So the logical fallacy he used was known as equivocation. Also known as bait and switch. To say if animals can vary or change within their kind, then they can evolve into different kinds. Do you remember when Lisa
that would
used
be
to
a really good point. Hey, wow, that would be a really good point if you defined what a kind was.
Yeah, exactly. And Darwin doesn't talk about kinds anywhere in the book because kinds isn't a real thing. Grievous for $5 says, if blood angels are vampires from Wish, what are mortifactors? Oh, they're just redditors, edgelord redditors.
I would like to point out really quick that this is really bold coming from somebody who sounds like they would make an argument that black people are a different species and therefore should not be interbreeding.
He did already mention Margaret Sanger, who...
Oh, geez. Oh, gosh. Oh, yeah. Weird that I clocked that so quick.
To be fair, he was mentioning Margaret Sanger. Or no, wait, no, I mentioned Margaret Sanger in reference to that whole thing. I forgot who's who. Oh, my goodness.
Listen, I stand by my statement.
No, that's fair. That's fair. Fair.
Hold the ball.
I don't know if this guy is racist. He just has that lilt.
Ball for Charlie Brown. Tell him to kick it. And right before he got there, what would she do? She'd pull it out. Bait and switch. Well, that's basically what Charles Darwin did. Bait and switch. And
sorry,
that's well, what do you mean by
Charles
bait and
Darwin
switch?
on top of Lucy's head.
That is actually kind of amusing. And like I begrudgingly am like, yeah, no, that's actually pretty good. I like
if
that.
I saw that during a church sermon, I would have laughed. The fact that nobody in this crowd laughed at this sermon is disappointing.
Yeah, what's up, guys? Come on.
He didn't even pause for the joke.
Lieutenant Matt the Navigator for $5 says, Darwin does talk about kinds in the German section of Origin of Species. Of course he does. The section that doesn't exist. Oh. You know, that right there. Oh, sorry, go
ahead. Atomic Squirrel also did point out that's not what a bait and switch is.
Yeah. So you know how Sal Cordova has been bitch made for like 2.5 years or something?
Oh, yeah.
The reason that he got all butthurt about all this stuff and basically decided to be for lying, but he, not bothering to watch the video, thought I said he was lying about something else, evolution or genetic entropy or something. So Sal made this response video all about like genetic entropy and how it's a real thing, Dapper. Actually, you don't know what you're talking about. But the thing is that the thing I said he lied about was just that there's a German section in the Origin of Species, which there isn't.
Some part of me somewhere still feels like a little bit bad for Sal. Where I'm just like, Sal, stop! No, why are you doing this? You don't need to do this. Stop. But I also haven't had to I haven't been able to sit down and watch any of his stuff in the last little while. So I don't know if it's I haven't experienced the level of ick that people have told me he's gotten into.
Yeah, it's gotten only worse. Yeah. Inquisitive Infidel for $2 says, Chuck Darwin catfishing religious people. I know. All right, here we go.
Charles Darwin would say, well, we know evolution is true. Microbe to man evolution. How?
He didn't say that, but okay.
Has anybody ever said microbe to man?
I mean,
I don't think that's ever been.
Only creationists really say it, but it is the case that all multicellular life that we know of has a single cellular ancestor. So, like,
Yeah,
it's
but
not wrong.
microbial, yeah, but it's not right either. It's like this is living in that gray area of
It's
like
a weird way to put it.
laughably childish.
Yeah.
We see dogs turning into other dogs.
Yeah, because evolution says that you can't go from being a dog to a non-dog. Because
Okay, sweet. Can all those dogs interbreed with each other without human assistance?
depends on what you mean by dog. If by that you just mean like Canis lupus familiaris, then actually still no. But
I would just hold up a bunch of pictures, flashcards of dogs, and say, is this a dog? Is this a dog? Is this a dog? Is this a dog? And when they inevitably say yes to everything, including coyotes and wolves, I would say, cool. Can all of these dogs interbreed with each other without human intervention? Yes, no.
The answer is no. If you're just going to do all
of course,
canines.
the answer is no.
Although the two examples that you gave, the answer is actually yes.
Yes. Correct. There are plenty of species that are like dogs that are like pets dogs, like the kind of dog you would consider a pet, that wouldn't be able to interbreed without human intervention.
That reminds me, a friend of mine recently told me that she had seen a puppy run across the road and almost stopped to go get it, and then only later realized that that puppy had actually been a coyote.
It's still a puppy.
I was like, yeah, don't bring a coyote into your car. That's a really bad idea. Just don't do that. And she was like, yeah, fine. I don't think I will. But it was very cute. I'm like, yeah, I'm sure it was.
That is different varieties of dogs. Charles Darwin would say there's different varieties of finches, different varieties of pigeons, different varieties maybe of fruit fly.
Hey, did you know that pigeon and finch, and as well as tanager, the thing he was actually talking about, are all varieties of passerine bird? And that we could just what if the kind is just passerine birds? Or what if it's neoavians? Or what if it's neodates? Or what if it's birds? Or what if it's reptiles? Or amniotes? Or tetrapods?
Eukaryotes?
Yeah, what if it's just eukaryotes? Where do we stop the kinds thing, buddy? Because you can say, oh, they're kinds of tanagers. Great. How do we know that the kind isn't just passerine birds, right? So that would include finches
reduction, right?
Yeah. Where do we stop? And that's the problem. That's the fundamental problem with anti-evolution.
That is a fallacy.
All of anti-evolution is just accepting a certain amount of evolution and then just arbitrarily cutting it off when you're no longer comfortable with how much is going on. There's no rigor to this idea.
Let's pretend. Let's follow the hypothetical for a second. Let's pretend. Let's pretend that you can become not a non-dog anymore, right? Like you're a dog and you've bred your way out of being able to interbreed with any other thing that we would consider a species of dog, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what?
Yeah, now what?
And what would happen then? And how could that even possibly happen? So you have like three main questions you would need to answer. And if creationists were serious about science or serious about their argument or serious about what they wanted to portray to people, they would have an answer for this, and they don't.
Inquisitive Infidel for $2 says, the path out of your clade is a non sequitur. Victoria Macarios for €2 says, fun fact, Chihuahuas can and will impregnate Great Danes. I am curious as to how that would just mechanically work. Does the Chihuahua
without
need
human
a step
intervention? Question mark. Yeah.
Does the Great Dane just have to like sit down on her belly? They
have to bone.
I'm hoping that it
missionary
actually
style.
I'm actually just hoping that it involves a stepladder and that the Great Dane just climbs the stepladder. No, sorry, not the Great Dane. The Chihuahua climbs the stepladder, and that's how they line up.
I mean, even if like they were able to get on top because the Great Dane was laying down, there's still like other finagly bits that have to. All Chihuahuas just have when like their little red rocket schlongs are just huge. Didn't you know?
I didn't.
That's how.
See, microbe evolved into man. No, he's conflating microevolution with macroevolution. Yes, you can change within your animal kind, but not outside into something else.
Cool claim, bro. You haven't defined what a kind is for us, though, so that doesn't mean anything, right? If you're going to say...
And also, nobody said you could.
Well, ultimately, the claim of evolution is that either kinds just don't exist or everything is in the same kind. So like,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's what it boils down to at the end of the day. Yeah.
Lieutenant Matt's Navigator for $2 says the Great Dane likes being on top. I don't think that that's going to work too well for impregnating a Great Dane via Chihuahua. Like, I don't think that's going to work. But then again, I'm not a dog breeder, so like, the heck do I know? I know that I wouldn't think it would be a very good idea for a Chihuahua to be impregnated by a Great Dane. That sounds like a disaster waiting to happen on multiple levels.
I don't know if the Chihuahua survives.
No,
that
I don't think
encounter.
so. I don't think so. And even if you do like an artificial insemination, I think that the embryos would grow too big and kill her.
Yeah, I don't think that would. Even if you did one, the Great Dane puppy is larger than a Chihuahua.
Right, an adult Chihuahua.
Yeah.
But then again, you know what? Kiwis make it work. So what do I know?
Key is true, but I don't think dogs and birds are the same kind.
Oh, that's a good point. They are different kinds. Unless the kind is
No.
amniote. Maybe they're both an amniote kind.
By the way, Dapper was over on my channel the other day, speaking of birds and like the intersectionality. Dapper was on my channel not too long ago, and I clipped it into a video. So there's a video coming out of Dapper doing a fantastic takedown of Osmongold on 2-factor authentication. One is sexual dimorphism in humans versus birds, and the other one is, general historical knowledge of Greece.
Yeah. And how, hey, Asmon, it's fine to just be gay, man. Just be gay. Just accept it. You're gay.
Mm-hmm.
It turns out if you think that most men are more attractive than most women, chances are you're sexually attracted to men, and that's okay.
And that's okay. Stop taking your sexuality out on everybody else.
Right? It's not my problem that you like men.
Right? Ugh.
It might be the men whom you like's problem, because who would want to be pursued by Asmongold? Also, I heard someone call...
Apparently Nick Fuentes.
Well, I heard someone trying to talk about Shadow the Conqueror, Shad Brooks' his novel, and
oh yeah,
he called the main character of the book, quote, Asmongold's dream blunt rotation, and I thought that was devastating.
That is devastating. That is absolutely savage. My God.
I know.
Holy moly.
It was impressive. All right, I'm gonna hit play.
That is impressive.
Yeah, I would not have thought of that, but it was
That's
immediately
poetry.
Yeah. By the way, that's Crispy Tavern,
like
in case you guys are wondering.
Cyrano de Bergerac level burn.
Yeah. And this was on Crispy Tavern's web channel. It was like one of the most recent videos there, and I'm pretty sure that like just wait for the Shadiversity 7-hour transphobic live stream response, because it's coming.
Oh, I cannot wait. I'll definitely cover that. But also, somebody really should send me that book, because people have been wanting me to review it, and I'm like, well,
Oh, God.
I mean, you have any idea how long it's been since I've written or done a book review? Ages. I should. I'm great at book reviews.
I do not want to read Shadow of the Conqueror. I do not need any of that in my brain.
Of course you don't.
All right,
I'll read it. It'll take me one afternoon.
It's actually a pretty long book.
Yeah, I'm a fast reader.
All right.
It's been said Darwin proved survival of the fittest. However, to prove macroevolution, he had to prove arrival of the fittest. Where did it come from?
All right, hold on. My guy, if you want to make an argument about survival of the fittest, just be like, well, I'm an idiot and I'm still alive. You have a better argument.
But also, it's mutation, buddy. And the thing is, you're right. Darwin did not give us mutation. Mutation was not a concept until about 12 years after Darwin's death. But is it more or less than 12 years after Darwin's death? I'm double checking. Yeah, it's more than a century.
Put another beer in the fridge.
Yeah. Wait, did you come on without booze? No, you came on. No, that was that. Okay, that is booze.
I got a beer.
Okay, good for you.
I got a beer. Yeah, I got a Crack Canoe. This is one of my favorite
Not
beers.
sponsored.
Simply, yeah, not God. Could you imagine getting sponsored by Moosehead? Me? Oh, me being sponsored ever? Not even once, baby.
NetEase wants to sponsor me.
I'm not the what?
Yeah, I got a sponsorship offer from NetEase.
That's cool.
Oh, well, except it's NetEase.
You should do it. Point them my direction. I'll sell you all up for a Klondike bar. Moosehead. I don't like normal Moosehead very much. I do like the Crack Canoe. It's a 3.5 light beer, and the one can is only 100 calories, and it's like the perfect size. I adore it. It's not my like favorite beer, but it's my favorite like passive like go-to drink.
What you guys don't know is that entire can is actually a special made can for small people, and it's actually like not even 25 cubic centimeters of beer.
Yeah.
Nice. And here's what we have to remember. Natural selection is
Did
a
not pick me for
producing
hair.
process. Charles Darwin was right. Natural selection is true. What does it do? It kills off the weakest.
Well, it doesn't necessarily kill off the weakest, but it does eliminate low fitness genomes from the population as a whole. So, like, kinda.
I feel like he's using the term weakest really loosely.
Yeah.
Like how would you define what counts as the weakest? This is like saying, "Hey, Dapper, which bird is the best at flying?"
The vulture.
Depends on.
Yeah.
Am I asking distance? Like, am I asking length of
Arctic
time? Am
tern.
I asking speed? Am I asking
Oh my
about
goodness.
like how much noise they make when they fly? Like it depends on.
So the Arctic tern is probably going to be your best bet for distance and length of flight.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah.
Owl is going to be the best for amount of
Quietness.
noise made.
Well, if you're going for low noise, if you
Peregrine
want high
falcon is
noise.
one of the. Yeah.
Pigeons or
A
doves.
pigeon?
Yeah, they're very loud flowers.
Yeah. If you want ability to like speed, you're probably looking at the peregrine falcon, which is one of the fastest birds. But that's like dive speed. That does not necessarily mean over flight speed. So that's a different question too.
Inquisitive Infidel for $2 says, so Darwin mutation was just a form of variation. Well, that's the thing though, right? Like Darwin did not actually have a mechanism to generate new variation. And so I don't know that I could agree with that statement because he didn't know what mutation was at all.
The owl kind, the seabird kind.
Yeah. Dutch Tunicate Official for $2 says, natural selection is true. Evolution is true then. Yeah, basically, that does follow. Yep. All right, here we go.
It doesn't create anything new.
Yep, that's what mutations are for, buddy.
Again,
No.
create. This is a bait and switch.
A little bit, yeah. He's trying to use words that are loaded a bit, but like.
Well, it's contextual, right? It's contextual. Get it? Con man. There's it's contextual, right? If you keep in mind who he's talking to and what language they're used to under like a sermon circumstance, then you have to understand that when he uses the word creation, he's eliciting a very specific like neurological pathway response from the people he's talking to.
Yeah.
New animal kinds. It's not a building process. So again, the microevolution maxim, animals can change within their kind. Microevolution, not with outside their kind. You might say, well, is this a biblical concept?
Not really, but let's see what happens.
I think it is. I think it's taught in Genesis, the first chapter. In verse 21, we read, so God created great sea creatures and every living thing that
created.
Yep.
There's the switch. So does that count as a prediction? Can I drink for that?
Yeah,
that
we'll drink for
right?
a prediction. That's fine. That's fine by me.
I want to also point out there's something called social evolution, which is very easily demonstratable that I think most creationists would agree with. And it'd be very hard for them not to. That social structures change over time and different social structures are created. We invent new laws that haven't existed before, or we change pre-existing laws. We add new information because we meet new people from different perspectives. It's a great allegory.
Lieutenant Math Navigator says, this man does not even have a nice tie. It's true. He should take a look. The creationist with the best ties, as we all know, is Old Kent from Before Prison.
I'm distracted on which I think would make a better tie, the tie that he's wearing or the curtain behind him.
I think the curtain behind him, because it would actually have a little bit of contrast with his shirt.
A little bit of pop.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's wearing, it's not necessarily the tie that's the problem in his outfit, it's the like his white, like purpley, white, blue shirt.
Honestly, I think a lot of it is just a really bad lighting.
Oh yeah, that also does not help. But like this tie does, unless he's got something else going on in the bottom half that we can't see. That tie is awful, an awful choice in this setup. You'd be better off not wearing a tie.
Part of our problem is that parts of his shirt and his tie are both clipping, so it's actually not even clear what's going on there in all cases.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't understand what this guy's doing with his hair. Like,
nothing.
Why?
The answer is nothing.
Yeah, that's why.
Because he's bald and he gave up. That's a thing.
Okay, yeah, but then shave the rest of it.
He doesn't want to. That's a lot. That's a hassle.
Okay, well then why should we care about what you have to say if you're not going to bother to present yourself and take any care of yourself in presenting yourself to us?
Because he, in fact, is against body shaming.
With which the waters abounded, according to their what? According to their kind. And every winged bird according to its kind.
And how do we figure out whether something has changed kinds or not? I don't know.
Guys, if I keep saying this word over and over again, it will make sense. I promise.
You know what though? He's got Quadi Mundi up there, and that is very much appreciated. And I'm going to take a grateful drink because they're adorable. And if you reverse footage of them walking around, they look like little sauropods because their tails look like necks.
They do. And you know what? We will give this guy a cheers for good image selection and animal selection for his slides.
Yeah. Although he's got 2 instances of sea lions, which is a little odd, but you know what? Who cares? Sea lions are cool.
He's got a bias.
Then God said, let the earth bring forth the living creature according to its species. No.
Oh, okay. Hold on. This is Genesis 1:24-25, right? That's what we're reading. Okay.
Yeah.
Everybody, can we find the word species?
Everybody, open your Bibles. Go grab your Bibles.
I
don't have one anymore.
20. Let's just go with 1.
I legit don't have a Bible anymore. Isn't that crazy?
Just go get a Bible.
I don't have one anymore.
They're free in some cases.
I'm just gonna go wander to a hotel nearby and just take one.
Oh, okay, interesting. Okay, now everyone, I need you to forgive my pronunciation because I'm not an expert here. But I'm going to read Genesis 24 through 25, and we're going to see if the word species comes up, right? Okay. Dixit quoque Deus producat terra animam viventum in genere suo jumenta et reptilia et bestias terre secundum species suas factumque estita. Thanks, dog.
I like that the dog reacted to you emphasizing that word species really hard. Dog's like, fuck you!
Et fecit Deus bestias terre iuxut species suas, et jumenta et omne reptile terre in genere suo, et vidit Deus quod esset bonum. Oh man! Wow! The word species appeared in each verse. Weird. It's almost like the word kind is not a technical term and has been translated differently, and that the reason that you don't call it species in English translations is because just like mean isn't a technical term, neither is kind, but species also isn't a technical term in Latin. It's just the Latin word for kind. And so the Bible is not actually being a biology text with formal definitions. And yes, that was Carmen, so thank you for all the Carmen emojis. I have no idea what her problem is today. Probably some shadow she didn't like went by.
According to its kind, cattle and creeping things and beasts of the earth, each according to its kind. And it was so. And God made the beast of the earth according to its kind, cattle according to its kind, and everything that creeps on the earth according to its kind. Animals only reproduce.
This is going to be the new water.
This guy isn't famous enough.
Good God. On the other hand, my guy, words are polysemous.
What?
So sometimes a word means something in one context that means something else in another, especially via translations, especially over massive amounts of time, and especially in English. English is notorious for words that mean different things. Faith, created, conscious. Like, there's so many words. English is so bad for this that we do it in English we treat words as if they are synonymous when they are not synonymous.
Oh, apparently, yeah, maybe Carmen thought I was summoning demons when I spoke Latin. When I butchered my
No.
way through Latin.
Oh, semen. Oh, my bad.
Jeez, I'm just gonna hit play.
According to their kind, do not change into other kinds. And before we go further, I'll just say this. With this lesson, as we begin this series on creation and evolution, and I've told people this, if I had my choice, I would much rather be preaching lessons like this morning or yesterday, going more to the scripture. But I feel like...
Then do that. I would also rather you do that.
Me too. You know what I wouldn't be doing if you had done that, buddy? Be here talking about this. I'd be talking about something else.
If you want to know what I really think, you've got about 12 super chats to go.
I mean, they could do it. We've got, what is that, 18 minutes? They could do it. Actually, we don't have the full 18 because I think it ends slightly earlier than that. Yeah, they've got 14 minutes.
This series is kind of like a necessary evil. Paul had to deal with false doctrine of circumcision, the Judaizing teachers. That's kind of what we're having to deal with here.
The Jews!
Guys, this is just like asking a pastor, hey, do you think that evolution is true? Is just like having someone tell you, now that you're a Christian, you have to cut your foreskin off. It's just the rules. Exactly the same, no different. Metageeky Platypus Librarian for $2 says Carmen was opining on the Great Dane Karma Sutra. Carmen has been fixed and cannot be impregnated by a Great Dane or any other dog. Unless the veterinarian who fixed her lied about that, which I suppose is not impossible. Seems unlikely, though. But she's got the little, like, she wasn't actually fixed by Bent, but she has the little, like, mark that a vet leaves on a female dog to indicate that it's been spayed.
A little tattoo.
Yeah, because unlike with a male dog, you can't just look. Because, yeah.
Yep.
So, unless that was a lie, which I guess it's possible. I don't have the records from that vet. Yeah, she's not
something that people do that annoys the hell out of me when somebody says, well, maybe they just lied about that, and somebody says, yeah, but why would they? Bro, people lie for fun.
It's true.
Like, there's just you don't need to understand the context as to why or the motivation behind somebody would lie. Whether or not that alone will indicate whether or not somebody did lie. People lie all the time.
But also, I've lived with Carmen for years now, and at no point has she ever acted like she was in heat. So I'm pretty sure it's not a lie.
That's pretty indicative, yeah.
Yeah, like I feel like at this point she's old enough. By many years, she would have gone in heat at least once during all that time if she weren't fixed.
You also would have had, if you don't fix your female dog, you end up bleeding every so often.
Yep.
But I say that to say, along the same lines, while we're disproving evolution, we can also understand some biblical principles. And we can see that in nature, such as this idea of animal kinds.
Victoria Macarios for €2
That's
says,
funny.
Children are kind, but German children are kinder. It's true. I should have said kinder, but then it's mispronouncing it. And I don't know what to do in that case. It only really works very well in text.
Do you know about the Kenders?
Like the little people from Dragonlance that always steal things?
Yeah!
I do.
Yeah! Like,
those little shits.
Like the wanderlust little steely bastards.
Yeah. We don't have a concept of property. Yeah, everyone else does, and you can figure that out, asshole.
And they're like, nah.
I don't wanna. Yeah. When you decide to play a Kender, in D&D, you were announcing to your group that you want to be the problem.
You're a little klepto.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this word kind comes from the Hebrew word min.
No, it does not come from the Hebrew word. It's translating the Hebrew word. And it's not min, it's mean. Min means from, and it uses a small I. There's no yud in there, right? So it's mem, yud, nun for mean, because it's a long vowel there. Mean. Min is just mem, nun, and it means from. And it has cognates in basically every other Semitic language. In fact, the word from in Arabic, also min. So, yeah, like if you want to say, oh, I'm from then a place, You say Anamin, the place, right? Like Arizona. Anamin, I'm Arizona. I'm from Arizona. There you go.
And bara would be created. So
No, bara with a glottal stop at the end isn't just created, because in English that could either be the simple past or the passive participle, but in Hebrew that is an active voice past tense third person singular word, which means he created. It doesn't mean created, and you're about to combine that past tense verb as if it were a passive participle and put it in front of the noun it's modifying, because you are too dumb to figure out that other languages don't always put adjectives in front of nouns. Some of them put them after, like Hebrew. And you're going to give us a really dumb explanation for where baraminology comes from, which also includes a suffix from Greek, which also isn't Hebrew. But hey, let's see what happens. Oh, sorry.
I cannot, that like, these languages are known. This is not a dead language. People speak this language. This isn't like if I just went over to, like, I don't know, somewhere else and just started pontificating about translations of French, and I only, like, tertiarily know, like, a little bit of French. And even that might be, like,
I
giving
guarantee
this guy
you,
too much
yeah,
credit.
I was going to say, you know way more French than this guy does Hebrew.
Oh, okay. It's me pontificating about Elvish, of which I know of
There you
none.
go.
No, it can't even be Elvish. It has to be a language that exists. Me pontificating about pick a
Klingon.
Slavic language.
Or Slavic.
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I can almost guarantee you that you know way more French than this guy does Hebrew. For instance,
Probably.
when you speak French, you kind of sound like you're trying to pronounce French words rather than just trying to
Nice.
read words into English, whereas he didn't even go that far with the
Like,
Hebrew.
trying to read a different language as if it's English. It's like,
Right.
it's like if somebody put, like, spelled out in like A B C D E F G, but written like kanji that's been written out in A B C D E F G. I would, like, know that there is a Japanese lilt to it of the direction, and this guy doesn't even have that.
Doesn't even try.
So a baramin would be a created kind.
No, actually, it doesn't mean that, because Biblical Hebrew is a verb, subject, object language, and you just use a masculine singular noun directly after a masculine singular active voice past tense verb, which means what you just said is a kind created, which is a dumb thing to say, because that doesn't mean anything. I'm going to take a drink. Lieutenant Math Navigator for $2 says, this butchery of Hebrew is not kosher. It is sure not. This is some trafe linguistics going on here.
Well, it's not even that he's just doing it in Hebrew. He's trying to also do it in English. Like, we don't know what the word created means. Like, we don't know what the word kind means. And now he's trying to jump languages to be fair,
in this context,
bury himself in semantic bullshit.
In this context, I don't actually know what the word kind means, because he clearly thinks it has some technical definition that he doesn't want to give us.
Right, but he's using the context of which he's speaking for that other... Jordan Peterson used to do this a lot. He doesn't say a whole lot of much, but says enough things to let the audience come to their own conclusion about whatever it is he's saying.
Their own stupid conclusion.
Well, yeah, it's usually, like, self-affirming. So he's using these terms in a way that they don't actually mean anything, so that way the audience will impose their own definitions onto it, so that way they think they've been convinced of something.
I loved his appearance on Jubilee, where basically someone was like, what discussion do you think you're here for? Because the title that I was given was about God.
Yeah,
that was I don't think it was quite as bad as Dave Rubin's appearance recently on Jubilee, but it was rough.
I have beef with Jubilee.
I do too. However, I will say that Dave Rubin made himself look like an absolute moron to the point that he was doing damage control.
All you have to do is turn on Dave Rubin to know that.
I mean, that's fair, right? Like, that's not a surprise to anyone, I suppose. I did also like the compilation of his predictions about what would happen in the Iran war. And, like, every single one of them is just completely wrong.
Yeah. So funny.
Yeah, if you're getting any information from Dave Rubin, you should just assume that it's exactly the opposite of whatever he says, and you'll be more likely correct that way. Lieutenant Math Navigator for $5 says, this is not but sound and fury signifying bugger all. Good Shakespeare illusion. I like it. Yeah. That's what we should do, Shesh. We should record ourselves reading Shakespeare.
You want us recording ourselves doing a lot of stuff.
I actually don't think that's a good idea. We should not do that. But we do have an obligation to do at least one thing. And now that I do have my computer back, we should probably get on that. So
You gotta wait for me to finish moving.
damn it, Chesh.
You like I had any control of this situation at all.
All right. I'm gonna hit play.
This could not be more out of my hands.
All right, whatever.
From that was created a study called Baraminology.
I'm that kid crying in the background.
Yeah, right. I think we all are to some degree.
Baraminology looks at what the original animal kinds in the Garden of Eden were.
Well, it purports to do this. Olivia Williams, Purple Fairy, for 279 Beaver Bucks says, in original Klingon, I could do that with Hamlet and Much Ado About Nothing.
Much Ado About Nothing's so good. It's one of my favorite Shakespeare plays.
Well, Chesh, we could try to get the recording of Much Ado About Nothing as like an audio play in Klingon.
No.
Audio drama. No.
No.
I mean, like, I have a copy of it. I can scan
believe
pages
you.
of it and send them to you one at a time. It would take forever.
You certainly could do that. That is a thing you could do. We don't get paid enough for that, Dapper.
Maybe that could be a goal. We'll do a GoFundMe.
These guys still have 8 super chats to even get to hear what I really think. So
what if we did it as a Kickstarter, right? If we get $5,000, we'll produce the audio drama of Much Ado About Nothing.
Do I get all of the $5,000?
No, we figure out how much like we need to pay for like sound editor guys and sound effects guys and whatnot, and then we split whatever's left.
Why do I feel like this is still going to be me getting nothing?
All right, fine, we'll say $10,000.
I want money if you're going to make me read a whole play in Klingon.
Well, you wouldn't be reading the whole play.
Oh, I'd just be reading all the certain parts that I'm given, which is like 50%.
Probably, yeah, roughly. Unless we could find
Roughly.
more Klingon speakers, but then we'd have to split with them too.
I hate this idea.
Sorry.
It was first proposed in...
No, you're not!
Victoria Macarios for €2 says, Klingon Shakespeare? Yes. Shakespeare, of course, was a Klingon, and many of his plays are still preserved for us in their original Klingon, including Hamlet, as well as the Much Ado About Nothing, and I think The Taming of the Shrew. I think. I'm not positive on that one. But I have Much Ado About Nothing, which is, of course, in the original title, Pawnswizard.
1941 by a creation scientist, and it says that...
Oh, and there's a blank super chat from Victoria Macarios for $1.
The differing kinds cannot interbreed, and they do not have evolutionary relationship to one another.
Awesome.
So you mean your study admits that evolution is real?
Yeah, so yeah, there's a problem there because we've seen reproductive isolation arise in real time, which means we've seen things go from one kind to another. Also, it means that many of the things that creationists generally accept as sharing common ancestry, like all the camelids and all the canids, don't actually belong to the same kind. Which means either...
Hey, listen, I know I was definitely here the entire time, but I'm pretty sure he just undermined everything he's said up until this point.
Yeah, it does sound like it. Victoria Macarios says... Oh, no, we already did that one. But Lieutenant Matt the Navigator for $5 says, I have a degree in iceology. It's a study of where the edges of the flat Earth lie. Nice. Then Victoria Macarios sends another
I see what you're doing.
€1 chats. Yeah, she's trying to make it as cheap as possible.
No, they're trying to get to 50. They got 2 more.
But as cheaply as possible.
I see how this is.
It might work. They don't have a whole lot of time left.
It might work.
But it might.
It might work.
All right.
They can only change within their own
Oh, there's
kind.
another $1.
They do not evolve, as Darwin said, from microbe to man. What we see actually are all the original kinds at the bottom.
I love how
it's like a drawing of, like a really poor drawing of a bunch of people standing in a line.
It does kind of. But all that means is that what you think the kinds are just you take the tree of life from evolution and you cut it off arbitrarily. That's just what you admitted to.
I have a different complaint.
What's up?
They literally have space underneath the quote that he's posting, but instead he made his picture cover up the text.
Okay, to be fair, that might be part of an animation. I'm going to hit play and see if it fixes itself.
God created
okay.
all.
Nope, it doesn't.
Nope.
All right, well, Victoria Macario sent in one last €1 super chat, but it didn't come in time. It was just over. So sorry about that. So we don't get to hear Chesh's real opinion unless maybe if you ask her nicely on one of her own streams, which are in fact frequently R-rated, then you can ask. My streams are only sometimes R-rated.
Usually when I'm here.
To be fair, yeah. Sealer for 26 says, I have a degree in lufology. I made it myself. And D. Thank you. And then Joshua Geese for $5 says, for the Klingon reading. See? Joshua Geese wants you to read Klingon, not me. In fact, I want to point out just how little Klingon has been in the various captain's logs for Star Trek adventures that I have sent you. There's been very little.
Yeah, he's been reasonable about it.
Yeah, it's not been none. But like
it's not been none, and that's okay.
Yeah. But like you were before, you were like, this guy's probably gonna make me read Klingon every single one. Like hardly ever.
I was expecting more Klingon than I got, but I didn't think you were gonna bully me too badly.
Okay. I mean, the thing is, like, it's not a campaign about just Klingons, so like it's not.
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, exactly.
All right.
We
well,
have
speaking...
like a Klingon, half a Klingon.
Yeah. Speaking of what's coming up, Chesh, what do you have coming up here? Because we are closing this up.
I'm moving. There's videos coming out on Debate Hub. Go check out the videos because I've been working on more video content. So check out the videos. Those are those come out 3 p.m. Eastern time on Wednesdays and Thursdays. Go check those out. So if you do want to see Dapper's opinions about Osmond Gold, I made 2 videos out of the live stream. The live stream is on my channel. You'll have to go find that if you want to see the whole thing. But the 2 videos will be out soon. So check out the videos because they need a little bit more love. Other than that, find me on Debate Hub. There's some stuff coming up, and I'll be going really hard on a bunch of debate stuff as soon as this next month starts. So
that's what she said.
Bear with me as I finish moving.
Right, what is coming up here on this channel? So, well, actually, first of all, after this, at I believe 2 hours after this, I'm going to be over on Doc Dino's channel, and we're going to be talking about a talk that a creationist gave about why it is that, like, I guess birds aren't dinosaurs. It's pretty bad. I've watched it. I don't remember everything that's said in it, but I remember coming away thinking, wow, this is really dumb, and also just kind of lies in some cases. Yep. Then that not positive how long that's going to last. But then on Tuesday, we got Jackson with Jackson coming. I have confirmed with Jackson, so that is happening. Then on the Thursday at noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, I am premiering the supercut of the series that we did before the Canadian Creationist one. So that's going to be, I think, like 3-ish hours. So, like, you know, bring a snack. It might be a little bit more than 3 hours. I'm not positive. But then on Friday,
lunch.
Yeah, there you go. Then on Friday, the plan is that we're going to be back with the second part of the Traitor's Hymn, Wrath and Glory scenario. So that will be with Manya, Landon, Metageeky is there. I'm obviously there. Andrew, who's not on YouTube, but he'll be there anyway. I have confirmed with him. I texted him to remind him. He was like, hey, man, next week. He was like, oh, yeah, okay, cool. Okay, cool. So, yeah, that should be a lot of fun. Then Saturday, I'll be back, and we're going to do more of this because we're not even close to done with this one. And this is the actual sermon that I meant to download instead of the one I actually downloaded last time that we went through last week, and we skipped through most of it because we're trying to get to this sermon, which we couldn't because it was a different sermon. I literally was fast-forwarding to get to this sermon, and that didn't work because it was the wrong one. So I'm a professional, but we're going to drink for that one. All right. Thank you so much, everybody. If you are interested, after this, I am going to watch 1 episode of Star Trek over on my Discord channel. We're not doing 2 because, frankly, I need to have a little break between doing stuff like that and going back live. So we're going to watch 1 episode. It's Star Trek Enterprise is the show we're watching. So, you know, if you like, you know, Jonathan Archer and T'Pol and Trip and crew, then come by. If you hate all those people, then don't.
Don't forget to like the stream, by the way.
Yeah, like the stream and share the stream, and ICE must be abolished.
Hey, before you leave, I just want to take a second to thank my patrons and channel members, especially those pledging $20 or above.
Siloof, Ben Tovind, Tapioca Weasel, The Plastic Mouse, Mikhail Dominiak, Sphincter of Doom, Regios, Landon Knoll, Ian Chen, Eleron Teller, Phil Rivera, David Hercules, Joshua Geese, Dan Sheedy, Pegajace, Arrow Dodger, Gordon Love Science, Ember Athelian, Prixie Purple, Agricola Sequa, Me, Myself, and I, Ian Kiambi, Edwin M., Kenneth Swenson, and John Ackerman.
It's because of my channel members and patrons whom you're seeing on screen that this channel can stay afloat. Without you, it would all shut down. If you want to join the team, there's a link to join the channel below this video, and there's a link to join the Patreon in the description. On the Patreon, you can get a 15% discount for pledging annually, and either way, you get early access to virtually all of my scripted videos months before they come out for the general public. Thanks for watching.